Welcome to the Middlesex Moment Show. I'm Marlene Olson, standing in for Dr. Anna Washesa. In the studio with me today is Dr. Adrienne Maslin, Dean of Students and also Interim Dean of Academic Affairs. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Marlene. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, there's a lot going on here at the college, but what you coordinate or what you oversee is like 2/3 of it. You not only have all of the student activities, but you also have the academic side of the house. And certainly there's people helping along those lines, but you have a very, very full plate.
Okay. Well, I do have a full plate, Marlene, but it's very exciting. I've enjoyed having a hand in both the student affairs side as well as the academic affairs side. So it's been a wonderful year and a half that I've been in both of these positions. It's been a year and a half. I think there are a lot of exciting new things coming on the horizon, one of which is the arrival of our new academic dean, which should be occurring in the early part of January. So we're fortunate that Dr. Steve Minkler, who currently works at Northwestern Connecticut Community College, will be taking over as the academic dean in January. And I think, oftentimes when you have great new people coming in, they come in with a plethora of new ideas and some things that, they steal from various places that they've been before. They see the operations and how things work there, and they come in with a sense of what's possible at other places, see how they might be able to adapt certain ideas to their new
It's certainly
college.
a growth for them and a growth for us. And I think you're right. They come in with that new perspective, but also with the experience from what might have worked in other areas and perhaps what might not have worked in other areas.
Right.
So it's very
Right.
exciting to see that we have a new dean coming on board.
I think it will give both of us, both Dean Minkler and myself, a real opportunity to focus in on certain aspects of administering academic affairs, serving as dean of students in my case, that my having done a combined job for the past year and a half may have not allowed me to do.
Right.
I'd be the first to say that there are some things that just had to take a back seat to other things. Although I've had wonderful help in doing this, one of our faculty members, Donna Leonowich, has really stepped up to be an associate dean, and she's been wonderful to work with. But I'm looking forward to having just the one job, because there are things in student services that I would really like to focus in on. One of them, for example, is that I would like to be able to establish greater lines of communication with our online students. I often feel that students who are taking courses through our distance learning programs they don't get the range of services that we can provide on campus. Now, I haven't fully thought through how to do that yet. One thing that I am doing, that I've started to do already, is we do have a publication that I put out once a month. It's in the toilet stalls, and it's called the Installation. And it's hard not to read that, because usually you have a captive audience there. But it never occurred to me really to send that out via email to our online students.
Of course, because they're not physically on campus, and yet a lot of the material that's covered in any of these kinds of publications are things they certainly would benefit from or would want. Oh,
right.
Well, we're going to learn more about our online students or some of the upcoming initiatives right after these messages. Welcome back to the Middlesex Moments Show. With me today is Dr. Adrienne Maslin, and we were talking about distance learning students and some of the things we might do to connect to them.
Well, as I say, I've been sending out the installation via email, and I've gotten some positive responses from that. One thing that I'd like to help online students with is academic advising. Every student at the college is assigned to an advisor, and some of our online students do take courses on campus as well. So for them it's easier, but we do have some students who are fully online. One of my goals when I revert back to being just the dean of students will be to look at that and see how we can best provide advising through an online web-based format.
I would think this would be an interesting avenue for a greater number of students in the near future because of the gas prices and the convenience of being able to stay home in the bunny slippers and do your class at your own pace. But one of the other things is if you were deployed overseas and you were taking classes, if you had access to internet services, you could probably continue with your studies if your service allowed that.
And that's certainly the case. I don't know that we've had many students in that situation, but I do know of one who was deployed to Iraq. This was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
And he was able to continue his course from Iraq, and it's a nice service to be able to provide. And I have to say, I think Middlesex Community College, particularly for its size, has a very large and very well-structured online course offerings. And
well, I certainly think Dr. Yi Guan Rakowski has a lot to do with that. She has put a lot of time and effort in, as her staff has done, to make that a very vibrant community here at the college.
Absolutely.
I think she was in the forefront of a lot of things that have been developed since. Certainly the hybrid. She's done a lot
Correct.
of work with that. And she also administers a test, or you can do it yourself online, to see if you're ready to take an online course. And I think it kind of goes through some of the skill sets that you really should have in place in order to do well in an online course.
Yeah, well, I think that's very true. I think there are two things that I would like to say about that. One is that she administers a test called SMART Measure, and it's a test that assesses a student's a little bit their reading skills, because certainly an online course is very visually,
Right.
you have to be a good reader in order to be successful in an online course. But then it also assesses certain other things, such as study skills, time management skills. To take an online course and be successful, you have to be good at managing your time. You cannot say, gee, the baseball game is on tonight, I think I'll watch it, and I'll do my online course tomorrow.
Right.
You really need to be able to say, no, I'm going to do my class. If I have time left over, maybe I can watch the baseball game, but the class comes first.
So it has lots of convenience, but it's not for everyone.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
However, one of the things that might make it easier is that as a community college system, we are in the process of transitioning from one online format to another. Our online programs are offered through a service that we purchase called Blackboard.
Right.
We have been using a platform called Blackboard Vista. Blackboard is now changing, and we are changing with them, to transition from Blackboard Vista to Blackboard Learn. What this new format should do is make it a little more user-friendly. I think for everybody, both for the faculty and for the students. So when faculty are building their courses online, when they're posting things to their websites, they'll have an easier time of it. But I think also for the student, they will have an easier time logging on, finding their course, finding the course materials, whether it's the syllabus or course outline or assignments.
So I think that's where a lot of people, the blending of technologies, and here we have classroom technology, online technology, but when you're talking about the Blackboard or the Vista or the Learn, what we're really talking about is access to information or access to each other. And whether you're an online student or on-ground student or a combination of the two, this type of technology has allowed you to be any place, anytime, mobile device, from a computer, from a Wi-Fi, from a cafe, anything, to say, well, what was that assignment? Or, gee, I want to check in with my classmates, or I want to double check on this or that or whatever. You can do that. So one of the things I was curious about, with the online students, they don't go to a Monday, Wednesday class from 7 to 9:30. Is there times that they are required to be online, or is that by...
Every instructor runs their course differently.
Okay.
So some instructors might say, you're expected to post online 2 or 3 times a week, for example. And this might be, when I say post, it might be in the form of a threaded discussion. So there's a discussion topic and students are asking questions and responding to each other. So every faculty member does it a little bit differently.
Okay. So this really works for someone who needs that flexibility, but also has the discipline to get it done. They don't have to schedule their lives around a Monday, Wednesday, but they do have to have some sort of schedule in mind when they move forward with this.
And one thing that I often advise students when they're new to online learning is to schedule themselves for a
Makes sense to
specific
me.
time
Yeah.
and day of the week, and to treat it like a regular course. And some students may not have to do this. They may have the discipline to just go on any time. But some students, I think, would be wise to say, okay, every Wednesday and Friday at 2 o'clock from 2 to 4, or whatever time slot they decide, I'm going to get on my online course, and it just adds to the discipline. One other thing that I'd like to mention about the concept of Blackboard and technology in learning is that many faculty, and I've been encouraging all faculty to acquire enough online skills that they can post certain things online even if they're teaching an on-ground class. So they can post a syllabus, they can post homework assignments, they can post study guides, they can,
given the weather events of the last month or so, it sounds to me like a lot of the momentum of a class can continue even if the classes aren't being held. So snow
Right.
dates or hurricane dates
and it
wires
really,
down dates.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It really became apparent for the first time last winter, back in January, when we had this whole series of snow days,
Oh
and
my gosh, I
school was
remember that.
canceled, and
Oh, yeah. I think that was one of the snowiest winters I've ever experienced in New England.
Yes, me too. But you're right in that those students who had a faculty member who either taught fully online or who was skillful in providing information online, they didn't lose as much time.
Right.
Those students whose classes were fully on ground, there wasn't much you could do.
No, either try to make it up or have to give it up, I suppose. Right, what else is new on the horizon?
Well, let's see. Obviously, I think the listeners know we have a new president, and
Yes, they do. They've been listening to the show.
Yeah. I think her presence on campus is also bringing new things to Middlesex Community College.
Exciting things.
Exciting things. She has a real sense of students and what they need. And she's come to the college with an eye towards, well, where are student gathering places? Where can they go just to hang out, be with each other? What opportunities are there for students? And for me, being the Dean of Students, I really feel very good about that perspective.
Well, from one of the perspectives that I have, where I have my office near the student lounge, one of the things that I noticed that when I first came, which was back in the late 90s, the lounge really wasn't used very often. I think a lot of our students tended to be older. They tend to be focused on coming to class, taking the class, and leaving the campus. And I noticed over the last 4 or 5 years an incredible shift towards younger students.
Right.
Who actually come up here, they're looking for the college experience, they want to engage with other people, and they stay. They stay throughout the day. So they're looking for something to be engaged in. So that space is important.
That space is important, and it's interesting when you talk about the younger students who are here on campus. I mean, the past couple of years, I've seen something that I have not seen since I was in college, and that is students who are playing guitar. Either in the student lounge or in the cafeteria
or music floats
outside
up the stairways.
outside in the gazebo, and students are playing guitar.
Right.
I mean, that's something that I recall from when the early 1970s.
But it's so interesting because we were just we're celebrating our 45th year this year, and we were writing the history of the college, and one of the pictures we came across was students playing guitar.
Wow.
And we placed that in the report, and here we are.
Yep.
Back again.
And it's real nice to see.
Well, let's take another break and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the Middlesex Moments Show. I'm visiting here with Dr. Adrienne Maslin, and we've been talking about the student experience here at the college. So I want to change directions and talk a little bit about the standards that the college maintains. That gives the college a chance to evaluate what they do well, what they could do better, and also it gives the students the assurance that their education means something. So when they transfer or they go and get a job, a college degree from Middlesex Community College means something. And what is that?
Well, it's a very timely question because in 2 years, from October, we will be participating in another on-site visit through our accrediting agency. We fondly refer to it as NEASC, but it stands for the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. And this is one of a number of regional accrediting agencies in the United States. It covers the New England territory, which is kind of nice because New England is reasonably small. It means all of us can drive around and meet our colleagues at these conferences through NEASC, and the folks who work at NEASC are very interested in coming onto the campus and maintaining ties with us. So it's nice that it's a small region. But what this involves is every 10 years, the college goes through a period of intensive self-study.
Right.
Now, any college should be going through a self-study process all the time. And I think we do that. I mean, we look at ourselves in a variety of ways through institutional research data that we collect, and we try and find out what we're doing well, what we're doing not so well. But the NEASC 10-year review really gives the college an opportunity to focus itself on that effort. And it helps us learn more about ourselves and, again, what we're doing well, what we need to be doing better. But it's a process that also gives the public a sense of assurance. That accreditation, that conferral of accreditation gives the public a quality assurance stamp that Middlesex has gone through this process. We have been reviewed by our peers at other colleges, and we've been deemed to be a college that's worthy of having students attend here.
Why would that be important? I mean, obviously, with that kind of self-study, everything improves. If a college, let's put it this way, if a college didn't have accreditation, what would happen? What would that degree mean? What would the student be able to do with that? Or more importantly, what would they not be able to do with that degree?
Well, from a very practical standpoint, financial aid is affected. If a college is not accredited, a student cannot receive financial aid.
Okay.
The federal government simply will not
kind of high on my list.
Provide funds for students at colleges that are not accredited. But I don't like to focus on that as the major reason, even though it really is
pretty good incentive.
pretty good incentive in and of itself. I think what's happened is that over the years, over a period of more than a century, I know NEASC itself has been in existence for, I can't remember, but 100 years or so.
Oh, well. Yeah.
It's been around for a long time. But over time, the public has gotten the sense that accreditation is important, even if they don't know about the issue of financial aid. I know the folks at NEASC have said from time to time that they'll be sitting there and the phone will ring and somebody will answer and say, good morning, New England Association, and the question they'll get is such and such a college accredited? And they'll say, why, yes, it is. And the other person goes, well, thank you, and they hang up. And it's a question in and of itself. Just some member of the public, for whatever reason, maybe their son or daughter is
they're very
applying.
aware of this. What about other colleges? I mean, if I wanted to take my 2-year degree here and apply it towards, say, a 4-year degree in UConn, if it was not accredited, would that be possible? Would it be harder?
I imagine it would be harder. Most students to transfer. Well, when I say I imagine it would be, I'm virtually certain it would be, except I can't speak for another college really, but the colleges that I'm familiar with certainly do look for accredited institutions. And I know for Middlesex Community College, when we're accepting transfer credit from other colleges, we look for accredited institutions. So it certainly does mean something to the student who wants to transfer from Middlesex
There's so much out there right now about the value of education. I mean, people are talking about colleges and the debt that students are taking on. So one of the things that is always coming to the forefront when you have these conversations is the value of a community college. So it's quality and value. It's not just that you're able to take your first 2 years of a 4-year degree, or that you're able to get job training for skills that are necessary to get some of those entry-level jobs these days, but you're also getting something that's accredited, it's of value, and I think NEAS helps everyone understand just what that value is. Shifting gears here for a minute, we do a lot within our community, within the community colleges, within, well, in the case NEAS. What do we do with the greater community? Things that the way the college connects with, say, Middletown or Old Saybrook or Meriden.
Well, I think the college connects in a variety of ways. I mean, certainly many of us at the college are on different boards or involved with the Chamber of Commerce, or in my case, I work with the Middlesex Coalition for Children. And then I think there are other ways. I mean, certainly at a college, we want to maintain contacts with our high schools. One of the things that I'm very interested in is greater collaboration with high schools.
I think there's a great need for that out there right now. There's a lot of concern over the curriculums that are taught at each level and making sure that that's a seamless transition into college.
One of the things we did last year to address this, and we're continuing it to a limited extent this year, is we paired up English and math faculty from the college with English and math teachers from several high schools in our service area. And there were about 7 participating high schools. And what these pairs of teachers did was they got together on several occasions over an 8 or 9 week period, and they discussed things dealing with curriculum alignment, the nature of the assignments that they give students, the nature of teaching methods. The same subject is often taught in different ways to a high school group or to a college group. We had the teachers taking our AccuPlacer placement test, which is the test that students take upon entry so that we can assess their skills and see what level of reading, math, writing we should put them into. We had the teachers take that test so they would have a better feel. What is the college looking at? What is this test all about? Right. And I think these pairs of teachers in English and math really found this extraordinarily valuable. We had
Well, what's the next steps after that?
Well, the next step is this year math is continuing with this on its own, and they're hoping the outcome, what we're hoping the outcome will be, is that students will be better prepared when they come to Middlesex Community College.
Do they actually sit down and write curriculums together? Do they, when I talk about the outcome, obviously this is an excellent opportunity for everybody to understand each side of this issue.
We're hoping that through this collaboration, the faculty will then be able to go back to their assistant principals and superintendents and say, this is what I learned from Middlesex. This is what they're teaching. These are the entry requirements that they expect. So we have to make sure that our curriculum brings students to a place where they will have the skills that are necessary and the knowledge necessary to pick up seamlessly at a college like Middlesex with the skills required upon entry so that they can place immediately into the college level courses.
Well, certainly they'll save them money and time. If a student comes in and has to take a remedial course, one of the things that they may not realize is that course doesn't really translate into credit towards their degree or certificate. Right. So they may take one course, they may take a semester, maybe even 2 semesters of courses to kind of catch up.
In my mind, I think it's one of the biggest factors in terms of our retention rates. I think students get discouraged when they have to do that and may not continue with school.
There's so many things that the college does. We have Shakespeare in the Grove. We had the ballet here this summer. Yeah. There's in fact, I think, wasn't it Meriden that had an entire festival all summer long where you could come to the college and participate in the street festivals that were going on there. There's some concerts. So there's a lot of connection with the community, and I think they appreciate that. We certainly appreciate them, and I know that will continue.
It will.
Right.
It will.
Adrienne, thank you for coming on the show today. It's been a very short 25 minutes or 30 minutes. So this has been Middlesex Moments. I'm Marlene Olson, wishing you a good day.